Welcome to Droopy Outdoors. Our goal is to make our viewers more capable, confident, and prepared. And today, we're talking about internet. So let's get to it. One of the best ways you can stay connected while on the road is by far Starlink. Everybody's heard of it. We've been thinking about it for a long time. We were trying to justify the cost. We weren't really sure if it would be worth it for us. Our current internet that we were using was the Verizon 5G home internet. We've had that for a few years, and up until recently, it's been fantastic. So Verizon has actually started throttling back their 5G home internet service if you are away from your address. So if they realize you're using that home internet away from your home address, your registered home address, then they're going to throttle that service back. We saw some people talking about it. It wasn't happening to us, so it wasn't a big deal. We didn't really know if it was a real thing or not. It's 100% a real thing. So the maximum speed we can get with our 5G home internet now with Verizon is 25 download and 5 megabytes per second upload. So that's not very good. It's still usable. We still stream. There's still, you can still work with it. But if you get into a situation where service isn't perfect, those speeds reduce to the point where it's almost unusable. And it seems like they're throttling it back even more. Our phones are faster than the Verizon 5G now. So when I'm trying to upload our YouTube videos, I'm actually connecting to a hotspot sometimes because that's faster than using the Verizon 5G home internet. Now it is only $50, so it's cheap enough, but it's really gotten to the point where it's really just unusable for us. Dylan likes to game. That's not happening. So we decided to bite the bullet and got the Starlink. The unit that we decided to go with is the Starlink Mini. So I'm going to unbox this. We're going to show you what's involved with setting this up and give you guys some speed tests. Currently, we're at a state park. Our Verizon service is super slow out here, so we're hoping we can get this thing fired up and see what kind of speeds we get. So, you see we have our Christmas tree in the background here, our little full-time RV Christmas tree. So this is an early Christmas present for everybody. Dylan's super stoked to get it so that he can get back on his gaming. We're happy to get it. We actually ordered this from Home Depot. It was $229 from Home Depot. We had them deliver it. So we're in Florida, not far from our daughter's house. We had them deliver it to her house. All right, so when you first open the box, you're gonna have a whole bunch of pictures that are gonna be directions. They have the QR code so that you can go straight to the Starlink setup. But here is the actual unit itself. This is the Starlink Mini. The reviews on these are awesome. There's a Starlink for RVers Facebook group. I mean, that has every question you could think of has probably been answered on there. So here's the unit. It's going to come with an optional mount for a pole. This is going to be our power adapter. And then it's going to come with 50 feet of cable. So the mount that comes installed on already is a little like a kickstand mount. So you just flip your kickstand out and it'll stand up just like that for you. You can see, I mean, this isn't complicated as far as the equipment goes. I mean, it's the Starlink unit, power adapter, cable. And then of course they come with an optional mount. There's a ton of mounts on Amazon for it. We're going to figure out what the best situation is for us before we go mounting this thing anywhere, if we decide to mount it at all. All right, so we've got the Starlink set up. Signal has been good. It comes up on the app as partially obstructed. When you look at go to the section of the app where it shows you the obstruction, where the obstructed area is, it's pretty much behind on the back side of the Starlink dish. So we have it set up here on our picnic table right here, and you can see it's completely obstructed through here. But if we pan around, we've got a good open view this way. So even having it partially obstructed, we're still getting some phenomenal speeds. We'll show you those. We're going to leave here. We're going to a different campground, so we'll show you what the speeds are at that campground and see if we can get this thing out into a more open area and see if the performance is even better. I've tried it up on the roof. You can see up on the roof, there's a little bit of opening up there, but it's still even. I had it kind of up here, but even with those branches, it was still getting signal. We actually left it up there all day while we were gone, and we could still check our, we have a pet camera that we keep inside to keep an eye on Nix, our dog, while we're away, and we could still log into it, even being up with the Starlink on the roof and being partially obstructed. So I think this is going to be an awesome investment for us. I'm happy we did it. Our Verizon speeds out here at Kissimmee Prairie Preserve, when we have camped here before, were excellent. Something's changed because Verizon is not very good out here now. Even on our cell phones are good enough to get some signal. I mean, it's usable, but on our hotspot, even though we're throttled back to 25 upload and 25 download and 5 upload, we're only getting like 7 or 8 download and less than 1 upload. So the service is incredibly slow, and I'm a little suspicious that maybe that's Verizon really throttling us back since we're using our 5G home internet box outside of our service area. But we're gonna get this Starlink set up at our next location and let you guys know how it does. All right, we're at our second location where we've got our Starlink set up now. We're at Hardy Lakes Park down in Bowling Green, Florida. So definitely, as you can see, a lot less obstructions here than there were at Kissimmee Prairie Preserve. A few trees, but the Starlink is right up on the roof up here. So I've got it set up there. I checked the obstruction map now on at this location, and this is what the obstruction map looks like. Really nothing obstructing the view. We do have a notice down here saying that there is an obstruction in Starlink's field of view, but it's not expected to impact our service. So you can see, compared to what we had at Kissimmee Prairie Preserve, this is pretty much wide open. I mean, there's a little bit of red back here on the back, but that is most likely from this tree coverage that we have back here. So that's where this set up on the roof. We have been running a Wi-Fi extender inside the RV. The Mini doesn't really seem to provide a very strong signal. Right now it's directly on the roof. Even inside the RV, the signal strength is, I mean, it's good enough to stay connected, but it's not really strong. So we had an old Wi-Fi extender that we've been carrying around with us for quite a while, and it's coming in handy. So it's an older version. We've had it for a few years, so I'm sure a newer one that's updated would probably be a lot better suited for the Starlink. But I mean, it's working good for us for now. All right, so we've got Starlink set up at yet another site. Wanted to set this thing up at a lot of different sites to really get a good feel for what would cause an obstruction with the signal and what wouldn't. Obviously, the first place we were at, Kissimmee Prairie Preserve, you can see we were covered with trees, so obvious obstructions there. I've seen a lot of questions on the Starlink for RVers Facebook group. A big question people have is, how much opening do you need above Starlink for it to actually connect? So I'm going to show you guys what we got right here. So you can see our RV itself is in an opening. So we have basically that much. We have trees on each side, all the way around. But the Starlink is actually right up on the roof in the middle of the RV. So with that much opening that you see right here above us, that's actually enough of an opening to where the obstruction map actually looks really good. It doesn't show any obstructions. It doesn't have a notice of any obstructions. It says that there are obstructions, but they're not expected to affect the signal at all. And we've had no issues with speed or signal here. It's been great with just that much of an opening, so that it has a clear view of the sky directly looking up. These trees around the side, no issue. All right, so now it's travel day. We put the Starlink in the truck on our way to this spot. We had about a 5 to 6 hour drive day. We actually ended up in traffic to closer to 7. So having Starlink available while we're traveling is awesome. It worked great in the truck. No issues with it staying connected while we were traveling down the road. Really worked super good. So I'll show you how we set it up in here. This is just kind of how I've got it set up for now. I'll probably fine tune this as we go, but for right now, this is a really good setup. So we just set the Starlink Mini right up here in the dash. It fits, ironically, perfect between our tire pressure monitor and backup camera, our rear view camera, and the dash. So you can see it sits perfect right there. I didn't really do anything to measure that out. It just so happens that that's where it sits, so that works out good for us. There's different mounts you can get for this to mount it, be able to mount it on your dash a little bit easier, but it sits nice and flat on the dash. I just route my cord down here between the seat and the console, and then we power it up with our All Powers 2000 watt solar generator. So you can see I just plugged it in a few minutes ago. It's booted up now, and you can see it's pulling 24 watts. So 24 watts of power. This thing, when we had it plugged in for close to 8 hours total, by the time I plugged it in, let it run, we left, got to the site, and then when I unplugged it, it had been plugged in for about 8 hours. Our solar generator was still at 67%. So minimal amperage draw. You can see we're up to 35, 36 watts now. So it'll vary up and down, but 8 hours on a 2000 watt solar generator still left us over 65%. So super happy with that. I just set this right here behind the back seat. I've got all the cord kind of wrapped up right here behind it. That's 50 feet of cord that we've got wrapped up back there. So I'll probably end up, once I kind of figure out how we're going to do this permanently, I'll get they sell shorter Starlink cords, so I'll get a shorter cord that I can just leave in the truck, and then I won't have to fight and hassle with this 50 feet of cord. That'll be the cord that we use in the RV when we get to our sites, and then the shorter cord will just stay in the truck. But that's how we got it set for travel day, so worked out great. So we're about a month into having the Starlink Mini and using it every day. To say that we're very satisfied would be an understatement. I mean, the improvement over our Verizon 5G home internet that we were using is tremendous. Even before they throttle our speed back, it's still it's heads and shoulders above what that Verizon unit was. Having internet that doesn't rely on cell towers is very freeing. It's going to give us a lot more options. Dylan has been ecstatic about it.
I'm able to game wherever, which was an issue that I had with the Verizon home internet, and you had to be somewhere with good service to be able to game. You don't have to have any service now for me to be able to game. And regardless of the service, it seems to work much better than the Verizon ever did.
He uses a PlayStation 5 on it. He uses his computer on it. He's gamed on both, and believe me, we would hear it very loudly when Verizon would not be fast enough for his needs. And let's just say it's been much more peaceful when Dylan games now. So as far as accessories go with the Starlink Mini, we have a tripod adapter on order. We actually got one sent to us, and they sent us the wrong one. They sent us one for the older generation Starlink instead of the newer style mount. I'm going to leave a link to the correct one that goes with the most up-to-date Starlink Mini. It basically is just a little round aluminum spacer that goes up into the pole mount on the Starlink Mini, and then you're able to thread that down onto just a standard camera tripod. But having that tripod option to be able to move it out where we need to move it to get good signal would be pretty awesome. So we're going to try to get one of those sent to maybe an Amazon locker or something like that while we're traveling. Which brings me to my next point, the price. This is $165 a month versus $50 a month that we were paying for the Verizon. It's a $115 a month increase, but honestly, I think it may almost pay for itself, because now, instead of having to worry about staying somewhere that has good cell service, we'll be able to access maybe some more national forest sites, maybe some BLM land, and stay in maybe some less expensive areas, less expensive campsites that may not have any cell service or very poor cell service. And we'll still be able to work, still be able to upload our videos, be able to do everything that we need to do without having to rely on having a good cell signal. So it's going to open up some options. Again, I showed you how we travel with it in the truck. That's been awesome. Just being able to put that thing in there and travel, and it doesn't matter if you're going through an area that has poor cell service, doesn't matter. That thing stays connected. Haven't had any issues with connectivity driving down the road. It stayed connected the whole time. That's been just a phenomenal option to be able to toss it up there in the dash and have that thing up there for us the whole time while we're traveling. I think that's about everything I can think of as far as the Starlink goes. Showed you all the different areas we've used it so far. Showed you how that obstruction map looks, and even the speeds. Even when it was obstructed, it still had some really good speeds. It would just drop out just for a few seconds every now and then reconnect. If you guys have any questions about Starlink that I didn't address, and I'm sure there's a lot of things I didn't address, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll answer them the best we can. We try to answer all of our comments and questions. So that's gonna do it for now. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.